early human history, people were wrapped up in mythology in an attempt to understand the world around them. Everything seemed to be happening beyond their control. They asked questions like, why does hell exist? Who controls the cosmos? And of course, why is your mother so fat? But seriously, among the earliest beliefs, we have some religions like Iranian paganism, which is similar to the Vedic religions in India. I'm already going to make a separate video regarding this, so for now, let's just bookmark that and move on ahead throughout history. As an aside, this video won't touch on an evil god in the technological sense. I'm not discussing anything relating to a singularity or a simulation, although I will do that as well separately. It won't require any historical roots, and we'll explore more about our possible future. Let's start by examining God dualistically, good and evil. In Zoroastrianism, we have consolidated power, a monotheistic belief. And the beginning of the universe began with the wise Lord. He here is the source of all good creation and light. Our universe was originally created in a perfect state, while a sole evil entity named Ahriman pursued darkness and destruction. It's the main belief of Zoroastrianism that humans should ultimately prevail with good over evil to restore this perfect world. What's interesting is how this idea evolved into Christianity and then Gnosticism. I won't even get into the other old world religions. I could do hours on each of them. I'd have to brush up on a lot of history. But again, this focuses more on good and evil. It seems Christians hijacked this idea of good and evil and an eternal conflict. They, of course, changed a few names, various laws, and tenets along the way, but they retained the core ideology that God is the source of all that is good, and Satan sought to undermine him, a perfidious intention to ruin his plan. Basically, the devil was banished due to a difference of opinion in God's plans. It's supposed to be his intention to dissuade humans from reaching salvation through sin, but he is believed to be among us still and plays a part before there's a final judgment. Even here, we have various beliefs among the denominations, all of them. But the central point is that God is all-knowing, all-good, all-capable within his own boundaries at least. Satan here is the evil force, despite God creating everything. Now here we have a divergence. So let's examine and reason why one might think the universe is ruled by an evil mastermind. Here's the problem with believing that our universe is ultimately ruled by someone good. First, God is responsible for creating Satan. He is omniscient and omnipotent, so he knowingly created someone with free will. And that person with free will would become treacherous and the source of evil. Then, God is ultimately responsible for creating someone who would defy him. Ask yourself, would you bring into existence someone or something built to undermine you? That's their sole intention, and you knew it. If you're truly God, you can give people free will and a path to salvation without creating a malevolent force. Of course you can. Otherwise, you're not God. Next, this belief system is based on free will. If God can see the entire path, it's simply not free. It's been determined, whether or not we can see it. As long as there's an arbiter who can see our beginning and end, fate has been set. It's self-refuting to believe he created us with full knowledge, while giving us free will. It's almost like deception. So why would he have you believe this? Now, let's ask God's motivation. He created you just to make you love him and worship him for eternity. If you don't, you'll burn in hell forever. Pause and ask yourself, does this truly sound like benevolence? Would you have a child just to force them to love you or cause them eternal torment should they choose otherwise? Why should one ever be forced into such an awful binary? Why would you ever present such a coin to anyone, no matter how slim the odds were, that they could be led to damnation, even of their own free will? Why would you allow free will if they willed themselves into damnation and suffering? I'd never follow such a God. In fact, I'd call him evil. It's not a new idea that people believe Satan retaliated intelligently by opposing this salvation. Wouldn't you do the same? In order to save us himself, he tried to destroy the possibility of free will or existence at all. It's not that he wants to make us slaves, it's that he wants to make us free. Free as never being forced to make such a horrible choice. In Gnosticism, they understand the material world to be heavily flawed, created by a rather flawed, ignorant entity called the Demiurge, that we're all a spark of something greater, something divine. And while I don't believe in anything divine, we could symbolize this as a recognition that we are born into existence from non-existence. We must return to our state of nothingness. That would be divine, an escape from non-truth to truth. Just take a look all around us. Does this look like heaven? Does it look like something a perfect God would create? Or is it all a hellish realm? Gnostics also believe in a duality, although I think it's much simpler, perhaps even something physical, not something astronomically complex like a God who is the source of everything. But the duality pertains to the material and immaterial. Non-existence is the prevention of all suffering and harm. Existence can bring some joys, but at the cost of suffering and harm only. Happiness is an illusion, and it's like a wriggling worm on a fishing hook. It's used to lure us in, get caught in the trap of more suffering and harm. That's the game we play. And I'm a negative utilitarian, so I choose non-existence. There is nothing lost in this state. It's perfect. There is no deprivation. Existence will always come with harm, and at a high cost, with absolutely no purpose behind it. It's a worse trade-off. Even if you introduce wonderful things, it comes at the price of greater deprivation. But anyway, God and his loyal subjects, these fishermen who dangle a fishing line, they want to keep us biting. Now, again, I'll be clear. I don't literally believe in God. But if he did exist, put yourself in God's shoes, if you can try to imagine this for a moment. They want us to be obedient fish. They want us to continue reproducing, to keep feeding him and his subjects an endless source of entertainment. It amuses him, nothing more. And even his subjects were created by his will. He has no loyal friends. He has no loved ones, not of their own volition. He created their will. He's eternally tormented, forever lonely, miserable, and exists without purpose. He only created us for some false purpose of his own. But this still isn't an absolute purpose. Existence for the sake of existence is pointless. It's interesting because in my video about a terrifying prospect with 3 parts, and I urge you to watch it because I also discuss what is actual truth. But I elucidated the most frightening ideas, infinite loneliness and meaninglessness. Wouldn't this just describe God when you really think about it? He would need at least one other being to share power with, but he doesn't. Even with infinite potential, God is trapped, with nowhere to go and nothing to do. God is actually in hell, and we're just the subjects in his realm. And if we're already trapped in hell with an evil entity, then everything we're afraid of is an empty threat. Why ought we listen to him? Ask yourself, what else could an all-powerful God do with an eternity to waste? He might go insane because he has to live forever. He cannot die. He's driven mad by his own definition. He is damned. He cannot progress. This is damnation. He is just perpetually stuck as all-powerful, so he creates subjects of torment. He is jealous of us because we can progress, because we are flawed, because we are not him, and because he is petty and bored. He already knows what will happen to us. He has nothing to gain, and that frustrates him. Imagine you had a passion for a game, but you were always able to get a perfect score every time, and you knew you could never fail. You'd always get 100%. There is no reason for repetition here. That's just a tool used to improve at something. Now imagine you create an audience and you commanded them to cheer you on for eternity to add some flavor to it. Does this really sound like paradise? Doesn't this sound familiar to the tormented intelligence known as Am? Satan sees this as his creation. He's figured God out as the evil arbiter of all creation, and he retaliates. He is valiant and clever. Satan is the necessary defiance to an all-powerful, all-evil authority. He knows free will is a farce, a bait, an illusion, and a trap. He knows we're already in hell. Existence itself is hell, even the potential of it, and God is forever existent. Everything is consistent here. Satan's own existence is just to warn us. If you disagree, I challenge you to point out something truly evil that Satan actually did, and whether or not it was actually God's ultimate responsibility. Furthermore, I'm not arguing Satan is perfect, he's just a resistor. He's a flawed creation from an evil entity, after all. So, if this is true, can we do anything? Taken literally? No, I don't think so. But if I need to make some ideas symbolic, then yes. If this is purely symbolic, stop perpetuating this cycle. God is the ruler of hell. Existence is hell. And since I'm here now, I'm already invested into finding the actual truth. Death is guaranteed anyway, so might as well. But you can pretend to love your creator. Just remember, he didn't instill you with free will. The devil's greatest trick wasn't convincing us that he didn't exist. It was putting blame on the other guy and hiding himself. It was revering that existence is necessary to create something good. It can't. Existence is chaos. Nothingness is order, truth, and perfection. That is my belief. So, thanks for listening this far. Again, I like to use a lot of symbolism. There's obviously no hard evidence here. I mean, how could there be? But I'm sure there's a lot of doctrine you could point out. Just keep in mind this argument is philosophical in nature. You're free to critique me whether you're an atheist or not, using whatever terminology you require. It's just my hope to lead you to understand that existence itself is not a good thing, whether you're religious or not. I hope you at least consider the big question, to be or not to be. Sorry, I had to say it. I think the answer is obvious here, though, and I'm willing to change my mind instantly based on better reasoning and evidence. Still, the truth seems to be completely inconvenient. It doesn't look good. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that for today. Nothing too serious here. I hope you enjoyed listening. Let me know your thoughts. And have a blessed day, and take care. Goodbye.